Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to pick you, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports. We're live, local, and ready to get things rolling on today, 125-24. The Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports, the sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. The playbook today is roster management with MaX Recruiting with Xavier. We'll ask the question, what Ryan Williams recommitment means. Will Bama raid Michigan's roster, as well as other information around recruiting and roster management? Is Michigan the first domino to fall post Bama? We did see that there are a few more guys from Washington that have entered the portal from the early enrollees. Will any of them make their way to Tuscaloosa? Coach DeBoer and his staff doing a great job. He's made a few changes and adjustments. If we don't get to those today, we'll at least highlight them and break them down. But also, big win for the Crimson Tide as they took care of the number 8. I think one poll may have even had them as high as number 6, but definitely number 8 Auburn Tigers fall in Coleman Coliseum. Nate Oates' biggest win of the season. And I have some thoughts on that game. We'll get those as well. So lots to get to. It's a Thursday, so we can always throw in a little true false if you'd like to. If you got a true false you'd like to add to the content of the conversation, let us know about it. We'd be glad to have you interact with us in the conversation. Remember, you can always do that at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Or you can always send your comments, your reactions, your questions, your thoughts, etc., and definitely your responses to the live stream chat, regardless of which platform you've chosen to join us on. You can always interact with us. Even if you're listening in on the Tide 109 app, you can post your comments and we'll work those into the conversation as well. Remember to follow at Martin J. Houston 35 or Martin Houston 35 fan page. That's both on Facebook and on YouTube, and just Martin Houston 35 on the X. Wow, so much to get to. X, yesterday had some interesting conversations, and I'll catch you up on that and get your quick thoughts on it. Glad to have you back with us. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. And once again, I want to remind you that you can get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. All right, X, yesterday we did have a quick conversation. I think some people thought I was being disrespectful, Coach Saban, but I wasn't. I was just pointing out why I thought Alabama could have a bigger season this year with DeBoer and his staff versus Saban and the staff he had before. Your thoughts real quick, and then we'll talk about the Auburn win last night, and then we'll get into some recruiting.
It's it's something that could happen for sure when you're looking at what Alabama is returning, some of the key pieces that they have coming back. If this offense rolls the way that Alabama believes it can, why can't Alabama have a better season? I mean, Coach Saban was by far an amazing head coach, and he's the GOAT for a reason. But that doesn't mean Alabama rolls over and dies moving forward. I mean, I would want Alabama fans to wish.
This way, Ed. Let me ask you this way. Do you think, from what you can only make assessments, based on what we heard Coach Saban say, that he had to spend so much time with the defense, so much time for the defense, that he couldn't do what he needed for the rest of his team and his organization? That was his words. Okay.
Yeah.
He had lost his defensive coordinator. I was sold on T-Rob being a great recruiter, but he would have been another Pete Golding, in my opinion, and I said that before he went to Georgia and stayed with Georgia. But we needed to keep him, we thought, on the roster. I mean, on the coaching staff. But the reality of it is, do you think this defensive coaching staff is better than last year?
From the potential of the pedigree, it can be. You're talking about having two head coaches step down to be coordinators and position coaches. You had another guy who was a co-coordinator at a Power 5 school step down to be a position coach. Like, the pedigree of the, you bring back Freddie Roach.
Remember, Saban was going to have to replace two coaches himself. And he said he couldn't get guys to come work for him. So who was going to be the guy he was going to bring in? Well, he couldn't get guys to come work for him, so he definitely wasn't getting head coaches to come. Right? So then you ask yourself, who did we lose that we would not have lost if Saban had stayed? Caleb Downs. That's it. I mean, you would say that Amos, yeah, but I mean, one of the other guys may not have lost. You see what I'm saying? Like then you flip to the other side, and we've had an upgrade on offense. I don't care what anybody says. The offense that we have coming back this year is an upgrade. I mean, Ryan Williams would have been here.
There's no other way to look at it.
So the question becomes, I think offensively, we will definitely be better with the coaching staff we have and the players that we have acquired already and potentially could get more. So the question becomes, can this defensive staff and DeBoer hold things together and build through a spring and an off season at the level that Saban did? If they can, then Alabama. Now, that doesn't mean that we win a national championship, because I don't think that we necessarily would win one with Saban or without Saban next year. You see what I'm saying? So that part's not the question.
Yeah.
The question is which staff will do a better job with this team.
And the simple fact of it is, when you go position by position, Kalen DeBoer, I think, is going to be a great head coach, but that's the only obvious downgrade, and that's just the simple fact. There's probably never going to be another coach on Coach Saban's level, but he's still one of the best head coaches in college football. So there's the downgrade, and then you look at OC, upgrade, offensive line coach, upgrade. You got your running back coach back, wide receiver coach, upgrade. Where's the quote unquote downgrade outside of head coach?
That's what I'm saying is, I mean, and then he did something yesterday that I think was a home run move, a recruiting move, a smart move, and well deserved in terms of his staff and a big time move. I think yesterday, that's what I'm saying. He's making all the right moves. He's making all the right moves, and he made a move yesterday that I think is going to pay huge dividends. I mean, it's going to pay huge dividends, and I'll talk about what that is on the other side. We'll get Pat in. He wants to talk about basketball and recruiting, so we'll work that into the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Sports Network. We're powered by MaX Sports. Tide 100.9 AM is where you can catch this. Is on the radio dial. We'll be back in just a moment to keep things rolling.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We are waking up to a little light rain that's been moving through the region this morning, but there's not enough of it to impact traffic. In fact, we remain in good shape all across T-Town this morning. A drive on 2059 between Foster's and Cottondale, McFarland Boulevard, and Lurling Wallace, all moving nicely, light volume, and no big problems to get on your way, at least so far. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Townsend Nissan Super Sale is underway right now with instant savings from $2,000 to $10,000 on most in-stock units. No reasonable offer refused. Shop Townsend Nissan today.
Tired of that gas-guzzling big SUV? It's like trying to park a school bus. Hi, Barry Buckner here at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, and you wouldn't believe how many Tahoes, Expeditions, Suburbans, even Escalades are trading for a new Hyundai Palisade. They're amazed with Palisade's luxury, technology, and a price tens of thousands less. It's no surprise KBB.com named Palisade one of the best family vehicles 3 years in a row. At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, our best Palisade feature is no added side stickers. Come see what a difference that makes on your new Palisade. Come take a Palisade test drive and I promise you'll be pleasantly surprised. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Did you know there's dust floating around your home?
Really?
Yeah. Dust starts on hard surfaces like shelves and ceiling fans. And when you walk by, dust starts to move, compromising the quality of the air you and your family breathe.
So what do I do?
Get Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster. Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster is the fast and easy way to trap and lock dust.
Before it gets into the air.
Exactly. So you can just... Swiffer Heavy Duty Duster, proud partner of the American Lung Association.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The flash flood watch remains in effect today and tonight. Cloudy with occasional rain, maybe a few strong thunderstorms. The high today 70, tonight's low 60. Tomorrow cloudy and chance of rain mainly during the morning hours. The high tomorrow at 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. I want to thank our sponsors, Billy's Cooking Restaurant, for being part of the program today. Go by and check them out. They open Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. On Wednesday, you have those Wing Wednesdays, 50-cent wings. You can have Fish Friday. That's tomorrow. Go ahead and make plans for that. And then Soul Food Sunday. It's Billy's Cooking Restaurant. Check him out online. See a picture image of all the great food he has going on. That's Billy's Cooking LLC on Facebook. All right. Several people making some comments, but the reality of it is, good things happening on that staff with Coach DeBoer. And yesterday, of course, we know the big news with Ryan Williams, and we'll talk about that. But I really believe the Ryan Williams, I made it before it happened, and I doubled down on it. And I believe that the Ryan Williams commitment will be to DeBoer what Julio Jones was to Saban. And we'll break down what I mean by that. Some people told me I was crazy for thinking that already, that I'm comparing way too early. Matter of fact, one of them was a cousin of mine. Said, "Man, that's ludicrous. That's just absolutely crazy. Way too early." You have to understand what I'm saying when I say he will be to DeBoer what Julio was to Saban. Has nothing to do with playing, which I think he will. Now, I think if Julio played in today's game, Julio would have, probably in 3 years at Alabama, Julio Jones would have probably close to 4,000 yards or more. I mean, I don't think anybody. I think if Julio came into college today, there wouldn't be anybody in college who could cover him. Just
no.
He did what he did in a run first, run heavy, run dominant offense. But he also had a lot to do with them with those running backs looking the way they did because of the way he blocked. So that's not the comparison I'm making. I tell you what it is in a moment. Go ahead, X.
I think he's still second. The only guys who have more yards as freshmen than he did is Coop and Ridley, and they barely did.
That's my point. That's why I said my thing was him being to DeBoer what Julio was to Saban was not whether or not he has the same career or better career or anything like that. Julio Jones was a grown man playing with kids up until he got old. I mean, like he was still doing the same thing to the pros as he did to people in college. So, you hate to see his career come to the end without a Super Bowl, especially when he did everything with the Falcons that he could to get them there to win one, except for Shanahan, who's learned his lesson, I think, with the 49ers, is you run the ball when you're in field goal range. You don't call. Yeah, that's another sidebar. But quickly, let's get to Pat. Pat, thanks for your patience. You're in with Martin and Xavier on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Martin. First of all, congratulations to our defensive, not defense, but the defense on the basketball team. Toward the end of the ball game, we did play defense and held on.
Actually, we played defense that whole game, Pat. They played defense the whole game.
Hey.
We held Auburn to 74 total points. And other than that early start of the
second half was terrible.
Yeah, early start of the second half where we kind of lapsed a little bit. I thought they played great D the entire game.
Yeah, but look, you're absolutely correct. It doesn't matter what Ryan Williams is able to do as far as career as much as getting him shows that Coach has taken the crash course. And he said, I'm not going to imitate that butthole down at LSU, and I'm not going to with a fake Southern voice, but he undoubtedly took a crash course in being fluent in y'all and got us a wide receiver. I don't care how it happened. I am ecstatic with him.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Go ahead, X, and then I'll respond.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think what Ryan Williams is gonna mean is going to be next level, and I think he's a tone setter for Coach DeBoer more than anything, and that's what Julio was at the end of the day. Everything Julio did on the field was amazing, but he was the tone setter moving forward in the recruiting world. So I think that's what Ryan will be as well.
Yeah. And Bam Bam 72 says DeBoer already making impressions with recruits in the South with Ryan recommitting. I think this will be a springboard to future elite talent. Wait till he puts the product on the field. Bama still rolls. You think about it, Pat. Julio changed the perception of Alabama. Okay, and so people trusted Saban, but there still need to be a big name choose Alabama before they got back to where they had been in the past, right? So Julio Jones accepted the challenge to come to Alabama to build a program. And so when he said yes, and don't take this wrong, other lesser recruits that may have been 4 stars or potential 5 stars also said, okay, if Julio, who is clearly the best player in the country, chooses to go and help rebuild this, I think I'll join him. And it was an in-state thing where all of the in-state talent there for a little while started to do what? Come to Bama. And so I think that is the exact same thing that a Ryan Williams commitment does. As now it won't help this class, but think about the fact that he now goes into a high school in Mr. Alabama. Didn't he win Mr. Alabama as a 10th grader too?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
And so he's the 2-time Mr. Alabama, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just said, I'm willing to go play for this guy post Saban. That's a stamp of approval that other recruits will say, hey, let's go join Ryan and do this. And I think that's what Mbakwe and all of these other guys were selling him on is, man, hey, we got a chance to start and do something special. We will forever be the post-Saban first team. Let's go do this thing. Let's go build it. They will be talked about like the 2009 team, that did it. If it happens their first year, their second year, or their third year, even though it was a 2009 Mike Shula senior-led team, who gets credit for that more than anybody? Julio and Ingram.
That's the 08 class.
And I think these guys will do that for Saban. So that's what I meant by Ryan Williams, Pat, is to DeBoer what Julio was to Saban. He turned the tide, if I can use that term, in the sense of perspective amongst recruits. Now, what nobody's talking about is everybody was so worried, can he recruit the South? Alabama can recruit the South. Nick Saban can help open doors in the South. What nobody's talking about is that we're going to get players from the South because we're in the Southeastern Conference, right? I mean, we're going to get players from the South. We're in the Southeastern Conference. But what nobody's talking about is we're now going to get guys from the West Coast, and even have y'all seen where the top quarterback that's committed to USC said he and his dad are trying to work out their schedule to come see the Tide? Yep. I mean, I'm telling you, if DeBoer nails the recruiting thing, Alabama's going to be more than okay. They're going to be well on their way to starting another run. I didn't say dynasty, but that's elite company when you talk about dynasty post Saban. But having a program that can compete, if he can nail the recruiting, is going to be really, really special.
Yeah. Hey, like I said about Mark Twain, he said, my demise has been greatly exaggerated, and all these people that said Alabama's demise is coming, hey, they should have been writing under a synonym.
Yeah. Yeah. I said
all right, have a blessed one.
Have a good one. Roll Tide. Hey, X, let's quickly hit the basketball thing. I see we getting some comments. I think Ryan Williams helps with French. Someone asked about Greg McElroy's comments about Alphonse Taylor and others, that beef going on there. There's several other comments out there we'll work in. X, but let's quickly hit basketball so we can, circle back the rest of the conversation on football and what's up next. Kudos to Coach Nate Oates and a big win last night. Real quick, CJ Watson, big Alabama basketball guy. Definitely a big time win for Alabama, man. It was huge. And here's the thing, X. This is the first time of all of those top basketball teams, and I hinted at this, and I was hesitant to pick Alabama, but I finally did yesterday at the ENX. But I acknowledge that was probably my homer radar making me pick Alabama. But I said if Grant Nelson has a big game and Alabama plays good defense early, they have a chance. And both of those things happen. Offense played well, and they got the big win. They weathered the physicality of Auburn, and Mark Sears, man, that dude's special. I saw him a couple times just taking in amongst the trees, especially into the chest of a broom, and they got the job done in all aspects of the game, except for that little window early in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, the way that the game went, Bama got out and up big, weathered the storm. Grant Nelson was great down the stretch, and I needed to see that as a fan from Grant, because there have been times where I was like, man, were we sold a pipe dream about him? Is he going to live up to expectation? And he came through when it mattered on both ends of the court. So,
yeah, he had a couple big offensive rebounds, and one was a putback dunk that I think sealed the game. I mean, and then he nailed some free throws down the stretch. So big game for him, big win for Alabama in terms of hoops. And this is the first time that they had a team on their court. All of their other big losses, Arizona, Creighton, Tennessee, and Purdue, were all on the road or neutral site or home court. This is the first top 10 that we played at home. So you have to like that aspect of it. But we have to get over the hump on the neutral. And, hey, they finally held off a hard-charging Auburn team, and that may be what they needed to do in order to get the confidence that they can do it. Nate Oates challenged them to be physical, to take on and match the physicality of others. They did it. So kudos to Nate Oates and his team. As we come back on the other side, we'll switch over to a little bit of Alabama football conversation, roster management, recruiting, etc. We appreciate you being a part of the program. All our callers, viewers, and chatters, as well as those who tune in on radio. This is the Martin Houston Show, and we'll be back in just a moment to work you into the conversation.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GEAR for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GEAR for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GEAR.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 15% when you buy 4 or more Purdy paint products. And there's more. Save 10% when you buy 68 or more panels of select OSB sheathing. Visit us in-store or online for low prices on the materials you need. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location, while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details.
Don't miss your chance to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Open 24/7, so come on in for nonstop gaming action. You'll find the latest, hottest, most exciting games around, and you'll love the fun bonuses and big jackpots. Plus, you can watch and wager on horse and greyhound races from all over the world. Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino, off I-459, exit 21 or older.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Remember Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. Looking for some great apparel, go check out Southmark Design, southmarkdesign.com. Scott Smith and his team will be glad to help you and assist you in any way possible. Also, you can check out Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. It's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. All right. Couple comments over there regarding basketball. CJ Watson, I took delight in Jay Williams having to acknowledge the crowd was rocking. Kudos to the Bama fans and students making some serious noise. Mark Sears is having a special season. He embodies what Bama basketball strives to be as a program. He may be a transfer, but he is Bama. Kind of make you wonder how Nate Oates and them missed on him coming out of high school, right? And undoubtedly, he must have grown and beefed up some, because there's no way this kid was playing like this out of muscle shows in Wheeler. But I want to make analysis, X, to him and what I think goes back to even my conversation from yesterday about why Alabama could be better. Wasn't Mark Sears on this team last year?
Yep.
Did anybody think Mark Sears was this good last year?
Not really.
No.
Knew he was good, but not SEC player of the year good.
Nobody thought that. Well, what happened? What do you think happened? Why do you think Mark Sears is the dog he is now? Do you think Mark Sears really worked in all of his improvement is strictly just because he got better in all season? No. We had an all-world freshman who left. And a guy who was already on the roster last year now had some cap space and some room to be the dog that he is.
Yeah.
What's the difference between, and I haven't looked at it, what's the difference between what Brandon Miller averaged and what Mark is averaging?
Just, it's about equal.
My point, go ahead.
Mark might be averaging more.
And CJ Watson, who said, I did with 3 exclamation points. He said, but I think he deferred to Miller. My point behind that is there's some dogs on this Alabama football team that may have deferred to Caleb Downs last year. Sometimes when a superstar is on a team and things begin to happen, everybody kind of leans on them and look to them versus giving their all. And you'll see, I think had some of the other guys who were on last year's team came back for basketball, they would have had lift as well, but they chose to transfer out. There's some dogs that's still on this Alabama team, and I think they're going to be ready to do their thing. Steve on hold. Thanks for your patience, Steve. You're in with Martin and Xavier. What you got for us?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just a thought. I live right on the tip of Virginia, about 2 hours from Knoxville. So, Tennessee fans everywhere. And everybody is saying, hey, Coach DeBoer, he's not an SEC guy, and he's going to come in here, and our style of football, we're going to teach him a lesson. And listen, guys, I'm 58 years old, and I've been a Crimson Tide fan since the day I come out of the womb. But my thought is, what do you think about DeBoer and the staff that he's bringing in, the style of football he's bringing in may change the SEC?
Hey, watch this, though. Where is Tennessee's coach from?
Oh, Lord, yeah, right.
No, do you know where he's from?
He's from a northern. I know he comes from the northern
South Dakota. Right? South Dakota.
Yeah,
South Dakota. Where's DeBoer from?
Lord, I don't know.
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
So the next time they ask you, the next time they say something like that, ask them, say, hey, guys, where's your coach from?
Hey, and Steve, the other part is Josh Heupel never he didn't coach in the SEC until 2016, and he was here for 2 years, and he went to Central Florida.
Right. Well, I mean, what do you think? I mean, I guess and my brother and I talk about been talking about lately. Do you think that he may be something that changes the face of the SEC and what he brings to it?
That's what I'm saying is, how did Tennessee finally beat Alabama? Is they didn't play SEC football. They brought Heupel has the same style offense or similar style offense that Grubb has. If you go back and overlay what Washington did last year and what Tennessee did with Hendon Hooker, it's the same style offense. Spread you out, tough running game, 3 wides, 4 wides, 5 wides, stacked offense, mobile quarterback. It's the same offense. That's what's so crazy is I'm laughing at the Tennessee folks when Heupel is DeBoer. I mean, they're the same dude in terms of where they're from, having spent a lot of time in the South, etc. But the difference is DeBoer's taking over Alabama. He took over a really bad Tennessee team, and he still was able to climb some mountains that Tennessee had not climbed. Take that and put that here. Steve, you're absolutely right. I think that to me, he is, and I've said this, and Ronnie on the app said that he thinks DeBoer's offense, what Saban was the defense. I've said that several times. So yes, I do think DeBoer, because here's the difference. Here's the biggest difference, I think, between DeBoer and Tennessee and all the other SEC schools. And Lane has some of this, but I don't think Lane is disciplined enough. Steve, he will have a physical offensive line and a physical defensive line. He said that's where football starts for him. But he also has a spread out offense. I mean, his offensive line just won the best offensive line in college football. And you go back and watch, they didn't have the level of running backs that Alabama had. They had the Mississippi State transfer, and they were physical in the run game. I mean, you go back and look how they finished Texas, Texas, Oregon off in that game, and other teams. I like it, and I agree with you. I think he will change, have a bigger change in the SEC than people are anticipating, versus him having to change and coach like the SEC.
Well, I dreaded, when Coach Saban retired. We all knew it was coming, but I'm now excited about the future. If that makes sense. I was talking to my brother, and we won games, and we were still the name in college football, but it seems like the last little bit we've not been as dominant in our wins. There's been games that we should win easily. That's closer, but I believe that's about to change. I truly think we're going to be dominant offensively and defensively again. So to me, I hate to leave Coach, but it's a great. I'm also excited.
Yeah, it's a mixed emotions because you don't want to be disrespectful to Coach Saban, but if you're being honest with yourself, you do have a little bit of excitement about he has built an unbelievable foundation. Can this guy take it even higher than what it's been? Not what it was when we were winning 3 in a row potentially, but better than what it was the last few years, which will be good enough to win a championship. And I think that's what people are missing out on, Steve.
I agree with you.
I think DeBoer can make it better than it's been the last 3 years. Not necessarily better than it was, all those other times. And that's what people don't realize. I mean, Alabama's not that far off. We talk about that was his best coaching job, but it was also, to me, at the same time, in some ways, his worst coaching job, because I think they kind of created some of their own headaches and problems by not having better coaches.
I listened yesterday, and you nailed it on the head. I think this staff would have won the national championship with last year's team.
I agree.
Hey, I'm a new listener. I've only been listening about 2 weeks. And listen, I love your show, man. I listen to you every morning going to work. And then after I get work, when I get off in the evenings, I start where I left off and finish the show. So I love listening to it. So much amazing insight.
That's why I do it, Steve, is for those who don't know, if you don't get all of the program, I do replay it at 6. It pops back and I'm glad that it catches people either coming or going. That's why I do it that way. So appreciate it, Steve. And hey, welcome to the fam, man. Glad to have you. And tell those Tennessee fans that if their guy can come from South Dakota via Oklahoma with a brief stop off in the SEC, and then from South Florida, our guy can handle it too.
Well, they eat the smartest cookie in a cookie jar.
Thanks, Steve. All right. Coming back on that great call from Steve there. And actually, he makes a good point. I mean, DeBoer may change instead of, and I love it. He's not trying to be Saban. He's embraced Saban. He's using Saban with getting in the doors. But him and his staff, man, they are knocking it down. We'll talk about some roster management, recruiting, etc. On the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaX Sports. We'll keep the conversation going right here as we get out of here. Don't forget to visit alabama1.org and find out all the great things that we have to offer there. And right now, we're encouraging you, hey, you're going to be getting some tax returns. Go ahead and drop that off into an institution that can help you grow your funds. Go to alabama1.org and find out how.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have picked up a problem for 2059 drivers in Cottondale. You're going to find this eastbound, looks to be a pretty good distance past Buttermilk Road. Accident that has the left lane of traffic blocked. The backup is getting close to a mile, so this has quickly turned into a notable problem spot this morning. It's also raining, which doesn't help matters either, but again, left lane is blocked. This is eastbound I-2059, just past the Buttermilk exit. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Thursday morning. Those living with low income in Hale, Pickens, Greene, and Tuscaloosa counties will be getting help addressing health issues. A total of $1.8 million has been allocated to community service programs of West Alabama by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Kimberly Montgomery tells news partner ABC 3340 the program will eliminate hazards like mold, mildew, pesticides, and lead. The program allows a resident to apply for up to $10,000 in repairs. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports, for a free-for-all Flashback Friday edition of the Martin Houston Show. We'll have the phone lines open for you and your content. 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. We'll also review Coach DeBoer's big week in recruiting. He's made some additions to his coaching staff, 4 changes. We'll talk about those, and we'll keep the conversation rolling right here on all things Alabama. That's the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaX Sports on 1230 a.m. WTBC and Tide 100.9.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9.
Ask big. Have you seen our artisan-created diamonds? If you've been in a room with one, you can't miss it.
Tom Osmond from Fincher and Osmond.
It's a diamond like I've never seen.
And he's seen a lot of diamonds.
Ask big.
At Fincher and Osmond, you can put artisan-created diamonds side by side with mined diamonds. When you see it.
More importantly, when she sees it.
FincherandOsmond.com.
McFarland Boulevard between Edgar's and Local Roots.
Billy Currington, Kip Moore, and Red Farron. Live in concert. Friday, May 17th, Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater. Billy Currington, Kip Moore, Red Farron. On sale Friday, 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. Part of the Coca-Cola Concert Series, produced by Live Nation.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the fourth quarter. 2-minute warning of the Martin Houston Show. Man, time flies when you're having fun. Thanks to all of our listeners, our viewers, and our chatters for being a part of the program. If you're tuned in on the live stream, please make sure you follow so that you get the notifications. And if you're tuned in on YouTube, maybe you get those notifications. And if you're out there listening in any other verse, make sure you interact with us. We're glad to have you as a part of the program. Remember, as we do this each and every day, we have great sponsors like Harvest Church. Harvest Church, I get the distinct privilege of pastoring that awesome church, but they're a big sponsor and supporter of this program. So thank them for making this possible. And I appreciate you supporting us as well. And you can do that by continuing to tune in, but also like, follow, and share the posts that you see out on social media. That helps me pay some bills. So help me increase my recognition, my reach, and my revenue. So thanks for being a part of that. All right. Let's keep things rolling, X, as we keep the conversation focused in on DeBoer and what he does. And, you know, part of it is Jim Harbaugh left yesterday going to the Chargers, and Bam saying, yeah, people dog Saban for the way he announced his retirement. I think the way Harbaugh did it was worse. The difference between MHS 047 saying the difference between Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh is that Saban didn't hold the team hostage, making his decision to retire before the semester began. In my opinion, Jim Harbaugh is a scumbag. That was MHS 0407 comment. Michigan will vacate this night in a couple of years for NCAA violations. You know, he did wait till the semester started, and you know, and the question becomes, what does the NCAA do with this now that this is so that you're inside it, but you're going to open up the roster? But what does that mean? Because these kids still can't leave unless they're going to get some type of special admission at the other school. You see what I'm saying? So in reality, Saban did do right by his players because he gave them a chance to make a decision. Harbaugh, on the other hand, unless they're going to get some type of waiver, X, his players can't leave right now.
Oh, it was intentional.
So that's an interesting thing. I guess that's one way to protect your current roster. But is that right by the players? Everybody assumes that the portal won't open because that kids won't look to move because Moore gets the head job. There may be some kids who don't like Moore because they're buried behind the guy on the depth chart that's his favorite. Or he may have some, you see what I'm saying? So don't assume that there wouldn't be movement. But in terms of that situation, X, we'll do some rapid fire questions for you here. Do you, when you look at the roster management, let's talk about it. It's big time news. What does Ryan Williams, Commitment, and others, based on the fact we've replaced everybody, and to me, except for Caleb Downs so far in terms of position. Do we raid Michigan's roster? Do we try to get a guy from Michigan?
I don't see why you don't try to. I mean, if there's a guy, if there's a hole, or if there's a need, and you see it within that roster, and it could be something. I mean, apparently Damani Jackson, who has decided to stick around at Bama, even with Coach Saban retiring, is really good friends with Will Johnson, the all-world corner from Michigan. So that's a relationship that you could reach out and try to see what happens. You could look at their safeties. I mean, Bama still has some holes and some depth issues, with just the depth issues being the lack of experience, not the bodies necessarily. So why not?
Absolutely. I think the reason I think they don't, I think DeBoer's come out and said he's not looking in the portal because DeBoer has almost made a decision that he is going to go with the dogs he got. And then after spring, he's going to open it back up, which I like that kind of that mindset. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't take, a diamond that falls in his lap, but he seems to be taking kind of an approach of these guys that stuck with me, I'm going to give them a chance. We're going to look to go to the portal for needs, but that's it. And we're going to replace maybe what we lost, but we're not going to look just to get somebody like some of these other schools did that may have had legit guys. He's going to give his guys a chance. And I like that mindset and that approach. I guess another big question, X, is how big a deal is it? And we may talk more about this tomorrow, but how big a deal is it that Freddie Roach got named assistant head coach yesterday?
I think it's big.
That's it?
No, I mean, I think it's a big move. I mean, he's a key cog that was in this coaching staff that they retained. I mean, you look at who they retained: Gillespie and Roach, and he's on the defensive side of the ball. He's the guy that has the relationships and the continuity. Been here longer. I think it's big.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's a home run move. Once again, he's making all the right moves in terms of Freddie Roach being an assistant head coach. How much clout does Freddie Roach walk into a house with now? Freddie Roach was a great recruiter when he was coaching the defensive line. Now he's the assistant head coach at Alabama. Bama blood. People talking. Freddie Roach, it's like this. When you go to a bank, a lot of times they'll have president. This guy's the president. Well, he's really a branch manager. And there's nothing wrong with being a branch manager. But the title gives him credence when he's out doing his thing to try to recruit business, trying to recruit people to come to his institution. People, when the assistant head coach sits down in your office, it's a little different than the defense people was questioning whether or not he was going to be replaced by Bo Davis. You see what I'm saying? So that's going to pay dividend. But what about everybody's talking? What is everybody saying about Moore up at Michigan? He needs to be the head coach. He needs to be the head coach. Nobody's talked about the fact that DeBoer keeping Freddie Roach, who was a strength and conditioning guy, who was a player development guy, who then became a coach on the field. Nobody's talking about the impact he's had on holding this roster together. Let me tell you who he reminds me of. When I was here, there was a guy who stayed through a couple staffs. His name was Jim Fuller. He's the offensive line coach, and he was the bridge between the changes of the coaching staff. He was here when I was with Curry, and then when Stallings came, he was here, and then when Stallings left, he was here. He was the constant, and he was a former Alabama player. He was a national championship coach up at Jacksonville. He coached there, and then he coached here, and he kept the team together. And Freddie Roach did that more than we will ever realize, guys. We will look back and find out that Freddie Roach was absolutely instrumental in what we did. Real quick, any closing thoughts or any other thing we need to look for from a recruiting standpoint?
I would say look at the impact that Ryan Williams has coming back. Jamie French is the guy in the 2025 class that they were really close and really tight. Look for him to potentially be back in this class. Look at Caleb Cunningham from Mississippi, a 5-star wide receiver. CJ Wiley, a 4-star, 6'4", 195-pound wide receiver from Georgia that just got offered, that didn't have an Alabama offer before. Look for some of these big-name guys in the 2025 class now that these offers are being and that's what nobody realized. These coaches have to re-offer you. It's not a guarantee that they're going to offer you a scholarship, so that's why you saw a lot of decommitments. I think you see some of these guys come back into the fold, and I just love that clock hit 0 last night, Alabama over Auburn, and Ryan Williams immediately says, I'm shutting down my recruitment. There's no visit to Auburn next week.
Awesome. And hey, listen, and don't forget, Julian Lewis said he's real straightforward. We laugh because I'm bigger than he thought I was. We also talked a little ball, but not much. Just got to know each other a little. My dad is going to look at our schedule and see when we can get over for a visit. That's a composite 5-star quarterback, Julian Lewis. We'll see what the board is able to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more roster management tomorrow. We appreciate you, all the caller, listener, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. An hour is never enough, but we keep it rolling. Alabama's going to be okay. Alabama's off to a great start and going to have a big day come February, signing day with the Ryan Williams commitment. We'll see if any more balls drop. If they do, we'll report them right here on the Mark Show, powered by MaX Sports. I'm Xavier Houston, and that is Justin Jones. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Roll Tide out there, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and